Greeting of the day. Uh, Myself is Venkata, Assistant Professor, School of Management, MITS Dept University. So now I am going to uh, teach financial engineering. So financial engineering plays a vital role in the banking and investment sector. In that, now I am going to especially to talk about asset liability management. What is asset liability management? How can it helpful in the banks and financial institutions? Asset liability management is a tool or technique where the mismatch of assets and liabilities in the banks. So we can apply the asset liability management. It means where the differentiation between assets and liabilities in the balance sheet of banks or the financial institutions due to some causes like changes in the interest rates, changes in the currency, market risk. These are all risk will be arises in the organization. This risk is overcome by the asset liability management. In the asset liability management can helpful to the banks or financial institutions to overcome the risk which will be arises in the future from interest rate risk, from foreign exchange risk, and liquidity risk. We'll talk about only three areas. Now I'm going to discuss about the interest rate risk. Interest rate risk is a one of the type of risk the banks which are facing by the interest rate risk. Before going to discuss about the interest rate risk, what do you mean by interest rate risk? Interest rate risk is nothing but the risk which will be arises due to changes in the interest rates. The interest rates every 2 months is changing by the RBI through repo and reverse repo. If any interest rates are changes, these are the affected on the bank income, bank net worth. Now we are going to discuss about the how banks are facing the interest rate risk that we have seen. In that, first we am going to discuss about the interest rate risk. Interest rates risk. So interest rate risk already I told you. Interest rate risk means the risk which will be arises in the organization due to changes in the interest rates. Every 2 months, the RBI has to be change the interest rates with the repo and the reverse repo. If any changes are happening in the repo and the reverse repo, automatically it should be affect on the bank financial performance. Apart from that one, now I am taking one example. So these are the bank financial statements, assets, uh, floating floating rate loans 8% per annum. It's worth rupees 10 lakhs. Fixed rates loans 6% per annum. 6% per annum. Rupees 15 lakhs. These are the 25 lakhs rupees is the bank assets. At the same time, liabilities, net liabilities, current deposits, rupees 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs, fixed deposits 5% per annum, fixed deposits 5% per annum, 8 lakhs, and equity share capital, rupees 5 lakhs. Just taken an example, this is the balance sheet of a particular bank. The bank floating rate loans 8% per annum, 10 lakhs. Fixed rate loans 6% per annum, 15 lakhs. Total assets of the bank 25 lakhs. The liabilities, current deposits 5% and fixed deposits 5%, 12 lakhs, 8 lakhs, and equity share capital 5 lakhs. So bank, what it does, the bank is an organization, it collects the deposits from the public at certain percent rate of interest and providing the loans to the required persons and required organizations at a certain percent rate of interest. The difference between interest received on loans, interest paid on deposits, that should be considered as a bank margin. That is called as a net interest income. So my question is, if interest rates are volatility, if interest rates are changes, what will happen? How it is impact on the net interest income of the bank, net interest income of the financial institutions. So here we have taken things, but if you want to know the net interest income, net interest income is denoted with NNI, interest received and interest expenditure. The difference between interest received and interest expenditure. See, interest received, definitely the firm will get the interest received on loans. So here two kinds of loans are there, floating rate loans and fixed rate loans. Floating rate loans, how much? 10 lakhs at 8% per annum. Fixed rate loans means 6% per annum and 15 lakhs. So first we need to find out the interest received. Interest received on 10 lakhs floating rate, 10 lakhs into 8 by hundreds, then plus 15 lakhs, 15 lakhs into 6 by 100. Then simplify, uh, two zeros, 80,000 will come here, plus 90,000 will come here. So then 1,70,000 rupees will come here. So that is the interest received. The bank received interest on their loans, which has given by the bank to the required persons and required organizations. Through loans, the bank is getting the receipts 1,80,000, 1,70,000, sorry. At the same time, next interest expenditure. Interest expenditure is nothing but the bank which will pays the interest on their deposit holders. So how much deposit is collected by the bank? Current deposits, through current deposits, the bank has collected rupees 12 lakhs at 5% rate of interest. And fixed deposit also is collected by the bank rupees 8 lakhs at 5% rate of interest. So the bank has to pay the annual 5% rate of interest to their deposit holders on their deposits. So here 12 lakhs is there. 12 lakhs, 12 lakhs into 5% plus uh, 8 lakhs into 5%. Then 60,000 will come here plus 40,000 will come here. So then 1 lakh. So already I told you net interest income means interest received minus interest expenditure. So here NII unequal to interest received minus interest expenditure. Interest received 1,70,000, interest expenditure 1 lakh. Then 70,000 rupees, rupees 70,000 is the net interest income of the bank at current level of deposits and at current level of loans and advances at current level of interest rates. So this is the bank is getting net interest income from their core business activities, 70,000 rupees. That's okay. Up to this is the bank, every bank has to calculate it, their net interest income. But my question is, how interest rates, if any interest rates are changes in the markets, how it is impact on the net interest income of the bank? So that is the risk already we told in the beginning of the class. Risk means interest rate risk means the risk which will be arises due to changes in the interest rates. If any interest rates are changes, how it is impact on the net income of the bank, how it is impact on the net worth of the bank. So now we are going to discuss about only net interest income. So if interest rates are rises, suppose if interest rates are rises or fallen by 200 basis points, if interest rates are rises or fallen by 200 basis points, how it is impact on the net interest income of the bank, that we can see. So here different kinds of things are there, different kinds of models, different kinds of techniques are there to measure the interest rate risk. In that widely accepted technique, gap gap is a one method. Gap analysis is a one technique, a tool or model to measure the interest rate risk, especially in the banking and financial institution sector. Gap is nothing but the difference between RSA and RSL. RSA means and RSL. The difference between RSA and RSL is called as a gap. So RSA means rate sensitive assets, and RSL is refers to rate sensitive liability. Rate sensitive asset is nothing but which kind of assets are reflect or influence the changes in the market is called as a rate sensitive assets. Rate sensitive liabilities means which kind of liabilities are influenced by the changes in the market interest rates, that is called as a rate sensitive liabilities. But here assets are nothing but loans and advances. Here loans are classified into two categories, right? So one is the floating rate loans, fixed rate loans. But floating rate loans, definitely if any changes are happening in the interest rate, it should be influenced, it should be affected. And fixed rate loans means it should not affected, it should not affected. If any interest rates are changes in the market, it should not affected fixed rate loans. But whereas floating rate loans, definitely it should be affected. So that is the called as a RSA. So floating rate loans is called as a RSA. RSL means deposits. Deposits means we collected current deposits and fixed deposit. Current deposits and savings deposit or the credit, cash credit, these are to be considered as a uh, rate sensitive liabilities, and fixed deposit is considered as a non-rate sensitive liabilities. Non-rate sensitive liabilities means, already I have given a definition. Rate sensitive asset means which kind of assets is going to be affected if any changes in the interest rates. Such kind of assets to be considered as a rate sensitive assets. Which kind of liabilities are to be affected if any changes are happening in the interest rates, those liabilities is called as a RSL. So we can analyze the risk under the model of gap analysis. So RSA minus RSL, that keep in your mind. Here RSA, for example, RSA RSA minus RSL. If RSA is greater than RSL and equal to positive gap. If RSA lesser than RSL, negative gap. If RSA is an equal to RSL, is called as a zero gap. Zero gap. So that is the thing. RSA is greater than RSL, it should be considered as a positive gap. If RSA is a lesser than RSL, it should be considered as a negative gap. If RSA is unequal to RSL, it is called as a zero gap. So first, before going to calculate the or measure the interest rate risk, we have different kinds of models are there. We have different kinds of methods are there to measure the interest rates. But here now we are going to discuss about the gap analysis model. Gap analysis, we are going to utilize the gap analysis technique or model in the banking sector. This is the RSA and RSL. So these are the components in the gap analysis. RSA and RSL, the difference between RSA and RSL is called as a gap. The gap may be in the positive, the gap may be in the negative, the gap may be zero. So here we have taken an example. At this example, at this thing, at this current level of deposit, at this current level of loans and advances, at current level of interest rate, the bank is getting rupees 70,000 net interest income. My question is, if interest rates are rises by 200 basis point, how it is impact on those things? That is, we are going to be calculated. See, simply, uh, if interest rates are rises, if interest rates rises by 200 basis points. 200 basis points is nothing but 2%. 100 basis point and equal to 1%, and 200 basis points is nothing but 2%. That means what? If interest rates are rises by 2%, how it is impact on the net interest income of the bank? See, here first we need to calculate the interest received. Interest received means we have two kinds of loans and advances are there. The first one, 10 lakhs, this is a floating rate loans, 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs into 10 by 100, because of already in the previous 8% interest rates are there, plus 2% is additionally to rises, then 10% will come. So that is the 10% plus, and fixed rate loans 15 lakhs. 15 lakhs, here there is no affected, here interest rates are no affected, 6% will come. That is the thing. So then simplify, 1 lakh plus 90,000. So then 1,90,000 will come here. That is the interest received. If interest rises on the interest expenditure 2%. That means here current deposits 12 lakhs. 12 lakhs into, here 5 is there, plus 2% add, 7% is there, 7 by 100 plus 8 lakhs. 8 lakhs also will be into 5 by 100. It means fixed rate loans, fixed deposit. Fixed deposit, the interest will be constant. If any changes in the outside of the bank, or if any interest rates are changes, it should not affect on the fixed deposit. So that's why here Juris 84,000 plus 40,000, 1,24,000, 74,000. So that is the thing. So if you observe that one, net interest income unequal to interest received minus interest expenses. Interest received how much? 1,90,000. Interest expenditure how much? 1,24,000. Then that is a income, net interest income. So then what we understood here, if interest rates are rises by 2% at current level of deposits, at current level of loans and advances, the bank income, net interest income will goes down, goes down. In the previously, the bank net interest income 70,000 rupees, 70,000 rupees. 70,000 rupees at the previous current level of loans and advances and the current level of deposit. If interest rates are rises by 200 basis point, what will happen? Interest rates are rises at current level of assets, at current level of deposits. The bank income, net interest income is goes down or is fallen. So that is how much? 4,000 rupees. 4,000 rupees is a fallen. So that is the thing. And at the same time, if interest rates are rises, if interest rates are fallen, what will happen? the same example. If interest rates are fallen by 200 basis points, 200 basis point. Same again, we need to calculate the same calculation. So see, 10 lakhs into 6 by 100, because of the standard interest rate is 8%, it's reduced by 2%, then it from 8 to 6. Plus, there is no change in the fixed rate loans, that is a 15 lakhs will come. 15 lakhs into 6 by 100. So then simplify, 60,000 here plus 90,000 here, then 1,50,000 will come here. That is the interest received if interest rates fallen by 200 basis point, that means 2%. Then at the same time, we need to calculate the interest rates. 2% is a fallen, then what will happen? So here also 3% will come. Interest expenditure 12 lakhs is there, 300. At the same time 5, 36,000 here, 36,000 here, plus 40, 76,000 here, 76,000 here at this one. So now net interest income unequal to what will happen? 1,50,000 minus 76,000, then 74,000. In the initially, the bank is getting net interest income 70,000. If interest rates are rises, the bank net interest income is 60,000, 66,000. If interest rates is fallen by 200 basis point, the bank net interest income is 74,000. So this is the thing. So if what we understood from this one, so the banks definitely, if any interest rates are changes, it should be impact on the bank net interest income. Impact on the bank net interest income. So if you at current level of loans and advances, at current level of deposits, the bank has 70,000 rupees net interest income. If interest rates are rises by 200 basis point, that means 2%, the bank net interest income 66,000. If interest rates are fallen, then what will happen? The bank interest rate, net interest income 74,000. So what we understood here, in this case, in this bank, if bank interest rates are rises, the bank will get a loss. The bank will face a risk. If interest rates are fallen, the bank will getting the benefits. But if interest rates are rises and fallen, it is not applicable to all banks. But this bank current assets and liabilities, current position of assets and liabilities, if the bank interest rates are rises, the bank income will be fallen. If bank interest rates are fallen, the bank net interest income will be increased. So the bank will expect better to, if in the future interest rates are fallen, the bank will get additional benefit to rupees 4,000. So this is called as a net interest income. So in the same time, we can apply RSL and RSL. See, RSA and RSL. Here, RSA, here two kinds of assets are there. Floating assets, floating loans. The floating loans is 10 lakhs. Floating loans, 10 lakhs. And fixed loans, 15 lakhs. That's a asset. And the liabilities, current deposits, 12 lakhs. Current deposits 12 lakhs, and fixed deposits 8 lakhs. Here we have to identify which kind of assets will comes under the RSA, which kind of liabilities will comes under the RSL. See, this is RSA. 10 lakhs is the RSA. Fixed loans is the non-rate of sensitive assets. Here, the first one is the rate sensitive liabilities. Second one is the non-rate sensitive liabilities, right? So here already gap is nothing but RSA minus RSL. RSA here how much? Gap is unequal to RSA minus RSL. RSA how much? According to our case study, 10 lakhs. 10 lakhs. RSL how much? 12 lakhs. 12 lakhs. So here 2 lakhs is the negative. 2 lakhs is the negative. Negative gap. Negative gap, how it is overcome? See, if interest rates are rises, uh, the formula is there. Net interest income unequal to gap into interest rates. Gap into interest rates. Here the gap positive or negative? Positive. Here negative. Negative how much? 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs. If interest rates are rises, 2 lakhs. Interest rises is the positives indicating. How much? 0.0. So then minus 4,000. See, in the previously 70,000 is the net interest income. If interest rates are rises, minus 4,000. 70,000 minus 4,000, 66,000 will come. That's the thing. Suppose if interest rates are fallen, if interest rates are fallen by 200 basis points, same here we can apply RSA minus RSL. RSA how much here? 10 lakhs. Here 12 lakhs. So then minus 2 lakhs. So if interest rates are rises, fallen means minus 0.02, minus minus plus 4,000. So 4,000 will come. 70,000 plus 4, 74,000 will come here. So these are the techniques we can, first we have said in the general mode, second we have said in the gap analysis. So gap analysis can be helpful to the banks or financial institutions to know the projected the risk, to know the projected risk. If any interest rates are changes in the changes, that should be impact on the net interest income of the bank. So this is the today's class. Once again, I will brief that one. So this is the a part of financial engineering. In that financial engineering, asset liability management. And the asset liability management is a tool or a technique where the mismatch of assets and liabilities in the bank balance sheet we can apply. Generally, where the what is the sources of mismatch of the assets and liabilities in the bank? We have three kinds of sources, three kinds of reasons are there to mismatch of bank balance assets and liabilities in the balance sheet. One is the interest rate risk. Second one is the foreign exchange risk. Third one is the liquidity risk. So these three risks can influence the, can change the assets and liabilities of the bank. If any changes are happening in the assets and liabilities, it doesn't match. And the balance sheet, it indicates the asset, it must be unequal to the liabilities. If any risk is arises like interest rate risk, foreign exchange risk, and liquidity risk, the bank balance sheet will not be match. So the asset liability management will match those things. Here, first one is the interest rate risk. Interest rate risk is nothing but the rate of interest, the risk which will be arises due to changes in the interest rate is called as a interest rate risk. So here, how interest rate risk to influence the net interest income of the bank, that we have seen. So we have taken an example, we have taken in a case study, a particular bank, assets and liabilities are there. Total assets and liabilities is 25 lakhs, 25 lakhs. 10 lakhs is the floating rate of assets, 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs is the fixed rate loans. At the same time, liabilities also is there, current deposits are there, fixed deposits are there, equity share capital is there. So here, current means here floating rate loans and fixed rate loans we have considered. At the current level of balance sheet, the bank is getting rupees 70,000 is the net interest income. So that is the net interest income. If my question is, my hypothesis is, if interest rates are rises, if interest rates are fallen, how it is impact on the net interest income of the bank, that we have to see. So apart from that one, first we have taken if interest rates are rises by 200 basis points. 200 basis points is nothing but 2%. 100 basis point is unequal to 1%. Here 200 basis points unequal to 2%. It means if 2% rate of interest rate rises, then how it is impact on the net interest income of the bank. Here net interest income automatically, if interest rates are rises by 200 basis point, the interest income of the bank is fallen. That is we have shown in the, that is 66,000 rupees the fallen. Previously 70,000. If interest rates are rises, the net interest income of the bank is going to be down. That is the rupees 66,000. If interest rates are fallen by the same percentage, so then what will happen? The net interest income 74,000 is there. That means what? If interest rates are fallen, the bank net interest income is rises. So at current level situation, so the bank is facing rupees 4,000 risk, or if the bank interest rates are fallen, the bank will face the 4,000 rupees of benefit or 4,000 rupees of profits. So this is the general way, but we can apply the gap analysis, the difference between RSA and RSL. This is the one more technique. Gap analysis is nothing but RSA and RSL. RSA means rate sensitive assets and rate sensitive liability. Rate sensitive assets means what? Which kind of assets is going to be changed if any interest rates are changes. So it is called as a rate sensitive asset, rate sensitive liabilities. So here rate sensitive asset, according to our case study, here only 10 lakhs rupees floating rate loans is the rate sensitive assets. That is the rate sensitive assets, so 10 lakhs, so rate sensitive liabilities 12 lakhs. So negative gap is there. Negative gap is there because of rate sensitive assets is lower than the rate sensitive liabilities. So that is called as a negative gap. If negative gap is there now, if interest rates are rises, the bank income will be fallen. If interest rates are fallen, the bank net interest income will be increases. That we have seen in the things. So in the next class, we can see how it is impact on the net worth of the bank. Thank you.